Since the 1970s, women's happiness ratings have dropped consistently to today's dismal rates. Divorce rates have risen. Anxiety, depression, mental health, medications being used to alleviate those problems have skyrocketed. However, women have more access to wealth, career choice, education, and freedom than they ever had in any other time in history. What the fuck is going on? So, as a modern woman, are you truly being honest with yourself what you really need? What you need out of life? What comforts you? And what truly makes you happy? Speaking from a woman's point of view, speaking to other women, we have to decipher what we individually need and not what modern society is telling us that we need in our lives. We also need to learn to ask clearly and concisely for what we've decided or deciphered or discovered that we need as women. But before we get into that, welcome back and thank you for stopping by and sticking with me with my channel as I took a little hiatus to get back into normal life. I'm back at my normal job. My province is fully-ish open and it feels great. It feels great to be getting back to normal again. So here's a little personal story about me and discovering how I need to ask for things that I need and how detrimental it is to a woman who doesn't know how to ask properly. So a few years ago in my relationship, I noticed that we had started to drift a little bit. And there was no real reason why. There was no crazy fighting. There was no issues that we needed to really deal with. It just was, I was just kind of losing communication and just talking, not talking anymore with each other. Life just gets in the way. I started to feel, and this is an insight into women, I started to feel ignored and I started to feel undesired and I started to feel like a second thought in my relationship. Now, that's not how he felt. That's not what he was thinking at all. But in true form, I started to react in a way that I believed that that's what he was thinking. And let me tell you, girls, they're not thinking that. They rarely ever are. And the way to combat that is to actually start asking kindly for what you need. So, rewind back to that point. I started voicing my opinions and I started asking for what I needed in the relationship. A little more time, personal time together, quality time, even if it was just an hour having coffee together with no TV and no phones. And sometimes he'd say, yeah, great, and sometimes he just wasn't in the mood. And that's his choice because he is a separate entity than I am and he is not here to serve me. However, he did notice that there was a bit of a rift in our relationship and he was feeling a little disconnected. And he voiced that back to me. And because I had stepped out of my comfort zone and I hadn't done it in a destructive way, aka nagging or crying or being passive aggressive about it, I had asked in a constructive way and told him how I was truly feeling. He was 100% gung-ho and happy to join me in reconnecting. Sometimes even it was just me voicing how I was feeling that made me feel better. I didn't feel ignored. I felt listened to and I felt acknowledged. And because I had made that effort to step out, that in turn just made me feel better, regardless of the reaction that I got in the relationship from my partner. So just voicing the words, just discovering what I need, voicing what I need, and asking for it even if I didn't get it, did make me feel more in control and better. So, why did this work? As I've moved into midlife, my ability to really connect with who I am as a person and disconnect from what others think of me. My FU has started to come out. My ability to say no has been a lot stronger, and I am more confident in that. I no longer care what other people think of me. The only ones that I care, the opinions that I truly care about, are my loved ones, my family, my children. That's it. As I've been moving through this wonderful change in my life into midlife, I've discovered many things about myself that I wish to God I would have known 20 years ago, because it would have made my life so much easier back then. But that's what wisdom is. Wisdom comes from life experience. I have learned to truly ask for what I need and to be able to say no. That's one of the greatest parts of wisdom, is you learn what works through trial and error. And if you get back up after your failures, hopefully that lesson that you've learned has made it so you don't fall down in exactly that way again. Sometimes I just didn't know what I needed, and taking that time to just sit back, be with myself, think about what I needed, think about what I even wanted out of this situation, helped alleviate a lot of the stress that was coming with how I was feeling. So this approach worked because I was getting out of my comfort zone, I was being honest, I was being open, and I was using proper communication to just voice what I needed. Sometimes it wasn't met, and that's okay. But a lot of times it was just something easy that we could do together in our relationship, and it made all the difference. As a woman, we tend to demand that the people in our lives just know what we want, and that's a very dangerous situation to be in. Ladies, you have to understand that you are dealing with very logical creatures when you're dealing with men. Your partner is not a mind reader. Your partner doesn't know what you're thinking, nor should they have to. Demanding that your partner should know what you're thinking or just automatically know what you need is one of the most destructive to relationships and self-sabotaging things you can do as a woman. He never should just know. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And it is the silliest thing that I personally have ever done. When we do that to our partners and to ourselves, it sets off a chain reaction where your partner knows, just deep down inside, they know that they're being manipulated. And no one wants to be manipulated. And that a lot of times makes people dig their heels in and do the exact opposite of what you're trying to voice that you need, trying to get what you need done. If they're feeling manipulated into it, they're going to do the exact opposite, which is going to infuriate you more. So you're essentially doing this to yourself. The thing I've learned too about men is the way they communicate. They like direct, instructional, logical communication. The worst thing I've ever heard a woman say is, if he loved me, he'd know what I needed. And it's like, girl, no. No, he does love you, but he doesn't know what you want because you haven't told him. So ladies, step number 1, really think about what you need. Think about those deep core things that you need in your relationship, things that you enjoyed in the beginning, or things that you feel is faded away or maybe lacking. And learn how to properly ask your partner for those things. Communicate. And remember, you're communicating with someone who likes direct, concise questions. Keep your feminine energy alive. Use that to find what you're looking for, and then use it to express yourself in a clear and concise and logical way to your partner. This has been my interpretation of Jordan Peterson's rule number 10, be precise in your speech. Coming from my perspective, from a female perspective, it is paramount to having excellent relationships in your life when you don't manipulate, you don't drop hints, and you just truly know and ask for what you need. It takes a little bit of practice. Sometimes it takes a little bit of courage too, especially if you're the kind of woman that has never been in touch with truly what you need. It's in there. You do know. And there's many different approaches and ways that you can discover your true self first, your true needs first, and then learning ways to express them. That's just my 2 cents on the subject. I hope you enjoyed my little rant today. It was more of a ramble than a deep dive into anything, but it was something that I feel needed to be said. Anyhow, if you did enjoy this, please consider subscribing. I do release videos more often than this gap here. And please drop a like because that helps the algorithm. And I do appreciate your comments. I love the comments that I read from people who have watched my videos and have been touched by what I've said. It gives me hope that what I'm saying is actually getting out there and people are reacting to it. So thank you very much again for stopping by, and we will see you in the next one.